goody goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Elaine Woolscroft.
It's not 2018 anymore! Yay!
New year, same me.
Yeah, it's...
No resolutions here, people.
That dumpster fire 2018 is over.
We're a couple weeks late.
Hey, you know what?
In this.
You know,
it's still January, goddammit. It's still recap
to reflect and rejoice.
We did.
You know what's funny? The past couple of years have been like, oh my God, we're finally out of this horrible year. 2016's finally over. 2017's finally over. And this year I'm like, you know what shit's coming next? Let's get fucking weird.
Let's get. I mean, I remember listening to some of our back catalog and we were just like, oh man, 2016.
What a year. We were so
What
dumb.
a year. We were so dumb. Same thing. 2017.
I know. And we were like, yeah, it's over now.
Oh, finally over.
Nope.
Well, you know what? Let's get it going. Come on.
Me up, gird my loins, whatever's coming next.
I'm starting to think
just
we're just
get ready.
bitter, hateful people.
You know, I've found that I am like harder.
Was it our 2016 recap episode that was, Brian, you did a dumpster on fire? Was that 2017?
Yeah, the graphic. I don't know. It's like
no, I did the apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, if you'd asked me,
I did. When
had
we
nuclear
started the
bomb.
podcast,
I would be wrong too.
And that was 2016. Yes. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I joined Twitter 9 years ago. I joined in like January of 2010. That makes me feel so fucking old. So bad.
Oh.
But yeah, so I guess like if there were an emoji for last year or a picture, it would be that remember that dumpster that was like floating down 51 that became like an international meme, and it was like Pittsburgh. It was like, yay, I know where that dumpster's from.
Well, we're on episode 126.
126.
I was about to say, we need to declare what episode this is.
126.
Yeah.
And this is going to be our year in review 2018.
The 2018.
So this is covering news stories that pertain to entertainment.
Everything in entertainment, all for you folks here with all the big star gossip.
I've got the goddamn bummer parade over here.
some movies that you've seen.
John saw everything. Spoiler, he saw everything.
I'm like Rain Man, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, I just told you we couldn't say that joke.
Oh.
You can't say that joke anymore.
You can't say that joke
You couldn't
anymore.
make that movie
It's
anymore.
not cool.
You can't make that joke anymore.
Yeah,
it's not
Dustin
cool.
Hoffman.
Get your shit together, John.
Yeah, let's throw him under the bus, not me.
Oh, okay.
And we're just going to
sex pervert.
Well,
So.
we're basically
He's not the only one.
Yeah.
I am trying to do a show here, folks.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're just basically give an overview of the year that was 2018.
Yeah, so if you like slept through the year, we'll catch you up and shit.
Yeah.
You should have.
Yeah.
You should have. And you should still be asleep because everything's terrible.
So how do we want to start this off? Do we want to start off with downer news bits?
Yeah, man, I've got like the fucking worst. And then do you want to fill in?
Let's work together.
With some stuff that didn't suck?
Because apparently all you found was like
do you have anything that
sadness.
didn't suck? Because I
And
no, I have one slightly charming story that's not even that noteworthy, but it's just like a record, and it's just like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I have kind of just like big moments in film and with celebrities and stuff. So,
cool.
Why don't you?
All right.
Why don't you go
I'd like to say that
first?
it's difficult to find just movie news. I would just like to say,
yes,
because a lot of times like people conflate celebrity news with movie news, and they aren't the same thing.
No, they aren't.
Because I'll tell you what, I was going through doing the research for this. I'm never going on Harper'sBazaar.com again. It is all the fucking royals and the fucking Kardashians. I swear to Christ, a Kardashian has a new kid every 5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Fucking
I'm
ridiculous.
sorry. The Kardashians are famous for nothing.
For nothing, for being terrible and for being vapid and boring. I cannot.
They're famous for their dad covering up OJ's murder
Brian,
spree.
do not start me on the Kardashians because I cannot. I fucking cannot. I absolutely cannot.
Kim's famous for a sex tape.
Yeah.
And now she's just famous for being famous. Like, it's
Yes.
just so ridiculous.
There were. I didn't think that it was possible to be worse than Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie.
Right? Those days were charming.
But
at least they
Kim
had a
is
TV
hot.
show.
Like, they were just like feral rats, and they just were
Whoa,
famous.
that's so mean.
Well,
They're
all they were
feral
supposed
rats.
to be famous for was being like hot, but they missed that train.
Well, what the problem is celebrities like them just glorify being brainless, like it's some kind of attribute that we all should aspire to. But This is not why Lane hates the Kardashians.
No.
Look for that in episode 144. Lane hates the Kardashians coming at you next year.
That's coming.
No,
up.
that's not an episode.
Listen.
Please don't think.
Just kidding.
No,
Listen
all
to
they
144.
have to do is make a movie, and then we'll talk.
Oh,
about
dear
it.
God. Okay. So, yeah. Who's ready for the bummer parade? I'm ready for the
I'm
bummer
ready.
parade. All right. Let's get this shit rolling. So, the first story I have for you guys remember in early January of last year, we, Hollywood found out how much Michelle Williams got paid for the reshoots for all the money in the world.
Yeah,
So Michelle Williams and Mark Wahlberg had to do some reshooting because they cut Kevin Spacey out of the movie
because he's a sex pervert.
in a controversial move, but a very good one.
We should have that as a section. 2018 sex perverts. I
Oh.
should have found. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you clearly haven't enjoyed the bummer parade yet because I got it for you. Got it for you, baby
sorry.
birds.
Yeah.
So and I didn't know the figures on this at the time. Michelle Williams, okay, so she was paid less than Mark Wahlberg, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I wonder what the discrepancy was. Mark Wahlberg got $1.5 million for these reshoots. It was 10 days of work. Michelle Williams made $80 a day.
Are you
She was
fucking
paid
kidding me?
$80 a
fuck?
day.
The fuck?
Seriously.
And the thing is, like, she's a legitimate actor, and Mark Wahlberg is a former rap star who beat a gay man nearly to death, and nobody cares.
Well, no, and he also owns his own chain of burger restaurants and his own car dealership.
Yes.
And
Like, he sounds like a fucking joke.
and he nearly beat a gay man to death for being gay. Why is that never talked
Nope,
about?
no one talks
No
about
one
it.
talks about
it's because
that.
he looks so cute in his Calvin Klein's, John. So anyway,
Because his fake penis was huge.
so
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that man's stuffed. So anyway,
No, he's not.
It was a
stuffed.
stunt dick.
That was a stunt dick.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. So anyway, so I never knew the numbers. I think that's mind blowing, fucking messed up.
That's crazy.
And it was weird because the comment that I saw in my research is that director Ridley Scott was furious upon finding out about the pay discrepancy. I guess it never occurred to me that he wouldn't know. I guess he wouldn't handle that.
He knew.
Aspect
Oh,
of
come
things.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like
I'm
that's
furious over
Do you
your
guys feel
Alien
like that's
movie.
hot garbage?
I
feel
think
like
that's
hot garbage.
hot garbage.
Well, I think that's bullshit. I
Yeah.
think it's bullshit that Ridley Scott didn't know. Bullshit.
Yeah.
He knew. Now, let me ask you this. Was Ridley Scott the producer of
I
this
don't believe
film?
he produced this. So he
Okay.
might not have, right?
Well, that's
he might not
possible.
have. But anyway, so then Mark actually donated that portion of his salary because they both already got paid for the
Well,
movie.
Because he got caught.
Because he got caught.
Oh no, I was about to say that, guys. You guys give me no
I'm
credit.
sorry.
We're getting angry.
He donated his
we're
salary
getting angry. We interrupt.
because of the intense, public pressure
Yeah.
to like not be a shitbag.
Yeah.
He donated it to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, which is an organization that supports lower income women who are fighting sexual misconduct in the workplace. It's to help with their legal fees
Right.
because they wouldn't have the means to do so. So yeah. So that's the first one. A little bit of like the grabby. Let's talk about some more sex perverts, shall we?
Yay, sex perverts.
Hey,
Last year in April,
you wearing any underwear?
rude. No interrupting. So last year in April, on the 26th, Bill Cosby was found guilty of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault
I
against
think
Andrea
that's
Constant.
worthy of a clap, right? Can we clap for that?
You see, you have a mic stand. You can clap. I can't clap.
Sorry.
There we go.
I offer the mic stand every
It's on my
week.
chest. All right. So then, the judge, Stephen O'Neill, on September 25th, branded Cosby a sexually violent predator. He was sentenced to
Sounds about
3
right.
to 10 years in prison and was taken away in handcuffs. And it's interesting in this case because there were so many people that came forward, fewer people testified, and then the only court case was just really against the allegations that confirmed to be true, the events that happened against Andrea Constant. But I mean, there is so many people that he did this to, and for it to just come to light with one victim is ridiculous. But
Well, it's really sad that when he would stand outside the courtroom, he would go like frazzle snazzle, hey, hey, and you're like, oh my god! And you started to realize his defense was trying to make him come off like he had dementia, so they could have a
was he trying to
mistrial.
be-
No.
I
Yes.
really thought you were just being like John.
Okay, was
but
he
you
actually
have a
doing that?
point,
He really
don't
did
you?
this. Yeah.
You have a
No,
point,
he didn't.
don't
He
you?
would just
Yeah,
do some
no.
of his quotes,
He'd
like,
seem
"I'm
crazy.
Joe Borden, Pop Smash, and Manable,"
No,
and
he
people
would
would
be, he would
like,
be
"Oh no,
crazy.
he's a
You're
crazy
right.
old man."
You're right.
Yeah.
He would act crazy.
But he had just done a comedy special like 2 years ago before this all came out,
he
thanks
was-
to Hannibal
he
Buress
was
or whatever.
fine. He was
But yeah,
fine.
he's fine.
Yeah. So speaking of sex
Scumbag.
perverts, The name on everybody's lips last year was Harvey Weinstein.
And his lips were on everybody.
Yeah, dude. I fed you that. I let you walk through that door. That's right. So on May 25th, he actually had surrendered to New York City police and was arraigned in court on charges of first and third degree rape, and then committing a sexual act in the first degree. It was legal proceedings that, were after like about 7 months after he had been accused. That mostly happened in 2017. So 2018 was when he came, to the court and had to deal with everything. His bail was posted at $10 million and he was released after posting $1 million in cash. And then he was fitted with a monitoring device. He pleaded not guilty in June. And his attorney, the quote from his attorney, Mr. Weinstein has always maintained that he has never engaged in non-consensual sexual behavior with anyone. Despite,
bullshit.
Almost 100 fucking women came forward with this shit. Okay.
No, only 100. Come on.
It's only 100 women.
Nothing about today's proceedings changes Mr. Weinstein's position. Mr. Weinstein maintains that he is not guilty of the charges filed today, and he is confident that he will be fully exonerated. But you know what really sucks though? Like this is what's like exhausting about the world we live in today. It's really hard to keep up with all of the horrible. And I didn't even know this, you guys, but in October, some of the charges were dropped. Amid allegations of witness and evidence tampering. So like that's our legal system, like it's not did he do it, which he absolutely did. It's can we prove it, which with all of the objectiveness of the courts, it's ridiculous. So again,
and people that are being bought off too,
and the bullshit train charges on.
Do you have Asia Argento's accused?
Oh yeah, I read about it in my research. That she was accused of doing it herself, like because the boy was 17.
He was 17 at the time.
Yeah, so that muddies the waters. I fully believe that you can be attacked and also do something that's not right.
I remember reading an article about that particular situation, and a lot of people said that it is common, I guess, for victims of abuse to eventually
to do it themselves,
become the abuser.
And I can't speak
Michael Jackson style,
and
baby.
I can't speak to that sort of situation. I can't
Neither
speak to
can
the
I.
H. Argento thing just because I only saw a little bit about it. I saw that Bourdain actually did pay the settlement for that one. It was over almost $400,000. I think like $378, something like that.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Asia Argento was with Bourdain, Anthony Bourdain, at the time of his death.
TV chef and personality.
Was she his girlfriend?
Yes.
His fiance?
It was she was his girlfriend.
Okay. So I couldn't remember this.
Long-term girlfriend. They had dated for a very long time.
They'd been together for a while, right? So, well, I was going to go on the grabber train. I guess I'll just brief it up and just say that, Morgan Freeman also had some allegations this year that he was he apologized for. CNN broke the story, and this was interesting because CNN broke the story in May, and they said that they spoke to 16 people. Do you know what like innocent people don't have against them? They don't have 16 fucking people saying that they did something.
Nothing really happened to Morgan Freeman,
but he apologized. Well, here's the thing: he apologized and said, I would never intentionally offend or knowingly make anyone feel uneasy. I apologize to anyone who felt uncomfortable or disrespected. That was never my intent. But then 5 days after this apology, so this would have been probably very late May, early June, he and his team demanded CNN retract that story and apologize to him. And they said it was like an absence of editorial control and journalistic malpractice. And CNN was like, yeah, that's cool, but we like stand by the story. But
some bitches need to be told that they got big booties.
Like cool story. CNN was like, that's cute. Sit down. So speaking of Asia Argento, this was kind of like personally horrible for me just because I really loved him. But Anthony Bourdain killed himself last summer. He was found dead in a France hotel room in June, and he had an 11-year-old daughter, and everybody was just like super shocked, because he had such a strong viewpoint on life. He had strong opinions. I was very surprised, and I know that this isn't how like depression or suicide works, but like I would have never known, and I would have thought that suicide would have directly conflicted with what I believe to be his ideals.
Yeah.
And that was tough for me personally. I know that's not how that works, but when something hurts, it's not always super logical. So
that's horrible.
So
Should we step out of this sadness train for a second?
Listen, I got a weird one. You guys interested in a weird one?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this story? Because I followed this a little bit, but we didn't talk about it on the show. So actress Allison Mack from Smallville. I don't know if you guys would remember.
Yeah.
I did not watch Smallville, so I'm not super familiar with her.
Shit.
Yeah. She was arrested in mid-April after it was determined she was very involved with and possibly was even a leader of like a fucking sex cult.
Oh, yeah.
And she was formerly charged with shit like sex trafficking and like forced labor conspiracy and shit. Like, I mean, I didn't get any details on any kind of like court like proceedings or anything. I don't think that's happened yet, but she could be like in jail for 15 years.
She was using basically her stardom to lure people into the sex cult.
Hashtag sex cult.
It was called Nexium.
Kind of. It
sounds like a medication, isn't it?
It's NXIVM. So it's like hard to pronounce, I imagine.
Yeah, Nexium's a medication.
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see where Brian gets at though, because it looks like it a little bit. But yeah, I guess in April she was released to her parents' custody and she's on house arrest. Yeah. And there's been some like questions as to whether her co-star on the show, Kristen Krug, like knew anything about it or was like possibly involved herself because they were friends. Now, I know nothing about that. I'm saying that was speculation that I saw last year, but that's all. So yeah, if you guys can gird your loins for like two more things.
Sure.
Notable fashion designer Kate Spade was also found dead. She was found dead 3 days before Bourdain, so it was like her and then him, like right in a row. That was
weird
like
when that happens
really
and somebody
tough
gets
week.
forgotten, you know.
It was a tough week. Well, I mean,
when Johnny Cash and John Ritter died, for some reason we all forgot Johnny Cash died because John Ritter died.
I guess because like John Ritter was a surprise.
Well, remember, we will have like people we lost section here.
Yeah, but I just thought that their suicides were notable. It was upsetting,
Right.
you know, whatever. And then, of course, Demi Lovato was hospitalized in July after an overdose. They did later, so take what you want from TMZ, but they did later report that what happened was that she was freebasing oxycodone laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl is not to be fucked with, kids. And if you need help, please get it. Please call whoever you need to call. Fentanyl is a huge crisis right now in Pennsylvania. It's part of what we consider the opioid crisis.
Yep.
It's oftentimes what people use in place of heroin. And it's actually also what killed rapper Mac Miller, who was from the area and who he died in September. He's a Pittsburgh boy. And it was confirmed in November that he accidentally... Well, we don't know if it was an accidental OD, I suppose, but it was an OD. It involved fentanyl and cocaine. And everybody, you know, if you have any problems with drugs, if you need things, please go find things. You know, that's super important. Like if you need somebody to talk to, DM me on Twitter. I will talk to you, and I will find you resources. I will find you phone numbers of people more qualified than I. But like, please know that like there is always somebody here. You know, if you're struggling and you need to talk to somebody, like. I'm happy to talk to you because that's so sad. I mean, like, thank God, you know, Demi Lovato lived, but Mac Miller didn't, you know, so.
Happy New Year!
Okay, single, cute, good story. Single, cute, good story. The only thing. So there was a really cool thing in September. I'm very fascinated by this, like, this prospect of receiving the EGOT, which for the uninitiated is an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. That's like every award you can win. It pretty much means you're awesome.
Barbra Streisand has one.
Barbara does not because one of hers is honorary. What Babs is
okay.
They call it a she got because it's like not quite because they received an honorary one
What
of the
about Meryl?
accolades.
Meryl got one?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think Meryl's done any Broadway.
Some of them are like producers, and some of them are
they're usually musical artists to begin with.
Well, it depends because like there was one that was awarded for just producing, which I thought was really fascinating because you can get it like just by being a producer sometimes. And there was a couple of more recently because I was interested in the more recent winners. Songwriter Robert Lopez became an EGOT in 2014 when he won the Oscar for Best Song for Frozen's Let It Go. He also won for Remember Me from Coco. Like he wrote that as well.
Okay.
Now he was 43 when he won like his EGOT, but he won for the 2004 Tony Award for Best Score for Avenue Q. And then he won a couple daytime Emmys for Outstanding Achievement in Music Direction and Composition for the Wonder Pets. And then he got the Grammy for the Book of Mormon. And so then he and producer Scott Rudin, he's the producer, EGOT. So, but anyway, my whole point is that John Legend he completed his EGOT in September. He's the first African-American man to have received this distinction.
Really?
Well, because Whoopi's an EGOT. and she's a woman, and a lot of people think like, oh well, maybe it's a daytime Emmy. Does it count? Fucking counts, y'all. I think it counts. But he became an EGOT, and then so did a couple other names that you guys might recognize. Tim Rice, who has written a shit ton of music throughout the years, like you guys would all know his scores, and then Andrew Lloyd Webber. Oh, he finally got an EGOT in the fall.
You know who was an Oscar short of an EGOT is Matt Stone and Trey Parker, speaking of the Book of Mormon.
Dude.
Because that motherfucker, Phil Collins.
I know.
For like Tarzan or whatever the fuck movie
it's crap.
he wrote for that year.
It's crap.
Instead of Bigger, Longer, and Uncut in 99. If they had won the Oscar there, they'd be EGOTs.
But they consider the EGOTs like for the competitive parts of these awards, and they don't quite consider like if
like
you
an
won
honor.
an honorary one. Like I said, it's loosely called like a she-got. It's honorary.
Interesting.
So so that's like my only charming story from last year. I'm gonna go lie down now.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a Vicodin and lie down. This is an interesting year for streaming services in terms of popular mainstream films. It's weird to think Netflix used to be a thing that you just get movies in the mail. Like, Rambo.
Oh, I know.
Rambo 2 is here.
Streaming and like instant has changed the game for real.
But while the year ended so strong with Roma and Bird Box, Netflix kind of fell out the gate, shit their pants, and then slipped on their own poop and then vomited with Cloverfield Paradox, which played right after the Super Bowl
that's
this
right.
year.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with any of the other Cloverfield movies. They just slapped the title on. It was a generic garbage sci-fi movie. And it kind of...
Was it a Netflix original?
Yeah, it was.
Shit.
And they said it was available right after the Super Bowl. They ran a trailer during it. It was just god-awful. Everybody hated it. And it was like... It almost seemed like, it's just kind of like a death nail for, the streamings. And now at the end of the year here, we have a possible Oscar winner in Roma.
Well, at least a nom.
Definitely a nomination. Possibly Best Picture
Was it
of the
nominated
year.
for a Golden Globe?
I don't know. I don't think, actually. But, and then Bird Box is all the rage. Well, I'll probably try to do like a mini episode of Bird Box. So we'll ignore that one for this episode.
Yeah, it's nominated for 3 Golden Globes, guys.
So we can do it separately. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to me how much backlash this gets, even, especially from, of all people, Steven Spielberg, who said these movies aren't real movies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but 1941 is, right, Steve?
Well, I mean, to be fair, Netflix this year has had a couple missteps, in my opinion.
But so is every other distribution company.
Right. My biggest thing is the whole the prevalence now of getting rid of all of their Marvel content.
I mean, they're
Have you seen this now?
They're working towards that, but that's because Disney's launching their own streaming service,
right?
And these licensing rights, that's got to be murky. That's got to be tough.
But my point is like with Marvel, they got rid of Daredevil. Okay, they got rid of a popular series in Daredevil.
Very popular.
They got rid of a popular series in Luke Cage. Iron Fist kind of sucked, so I understood that one.
Well, what's the fate of Jessica Jones? Do we know?
So as far as I know, with Jessica Jones, they're doing a third season.
Good.
Punisher is going on a second season. But the thing is most people are under the guise that these series are going to go away. And the thing is that I don't believe Disney's going to pick them up after the fact.
Well, I don't know. They're big winners, and like they're trying to start something up from the ground up. With their own streaming service, they're gonna need original content.
But the problem is that Disney doesn't want to be associated with a hard R series of series.
Punisher is gonna be a hard sell, and I guess Jessica Jones is pretty dark too.
The only one that would really work is Daredevil, because you
not really.
Daredevil's pretty dark
Daredevil
too, isn't it?
is very dark.
Yeah, but you can.
A man's head
Joel
gets
Schumacher
bashed
made Batman.
but a man's head gets bashed in a car door.
Yeah, I was going to say,
by
like,
Kingpin.
in the current tone that these shows are going in.
Right, but I would imagine Disney would buy them and then just make them Disney-fied.
Well, I think from what I understand, Netflix is going to hold on to the series. They're just not going to produce any more. And then after a while, they're just going to disappear. Because Disney doesn't want them.
But what do you guys think about, guys like Steven Spielberg saying these aren't like real movies because they only play in theaters long enough to get Oscar contention and shit like that?
I think that we need to look at the way that the whole game is being played right now because, I think have held on to the way movies have been done for so long, and I think that we kind of rehash this every year when we do our Oscars episode. You know, the Oscars is a really beautiful reminder of the things that we shouldn't still be holding on to. You know, these traditions and how they've just become so overblown. You know, we need to look at this differently and see how things are going because, you know. What's interesting is that there was a lot of faltering in Netflix that, you know, in 2018. It did great in 2017, but theaters were like on a 3-year low in 2017.
Yep.
Theaters did not make any money, but last year they made a shit ton of it. So I think to find a way, you know, where you're still producing quality content out of both channels, I don't see anything wrong with like changing the game and saying like, you know what, these are films that were made by a film studio. You want to tell me that Netflix Studios doesn't have money? Amazon Studios doesn't have money? They have fucking money. They're making films all the time.
I think, and we mentioned this a couple episodes ago when we first brought up about the whole Steven Spielberg being taking a shit on Netflix, how it's almost like the man who went through a whole bunch of stuff to get to where he's at and sees, oh yeah, there is a quicker, different way that you can get there now. And it's like, well, fuck you. You have to go through the shit that I went through. And that's a very dangerous way of thinking.
I mean, he's a 75-year-old man or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
well,
he's stuck in his old ways.
And you say this all the time, John, that, you know, maybe directing should be a younger man's game. And like when you become the old man, maybe you don't have as much of a voice as you used to anymore. You know, I think that that's something that could be considered as well. I think that we have to kind of rethink all these mediums as they exist.
And, you know, I would hope that this year for the Oscars that Roma wins it, because I think that would just create such a conversation.
Be damn interesting,
if a Netflix
wouldn't it?
original movie wins Best Picture of the Year.
So
I'm pulling for it.
It'd be very interesting.
I mean, at the same time, I've been saying for a while that TV is where it's at. That it's, unfortunately, we're not finding the type of content that we want in the cinema. It's
well, that's
not.
the thing. The cinema's playing it so safe. I mean, if you look at, we'll talk about some of the top movies of 2018, you know, in the U.S. We'll look at some of that in a little bit, but like they played it so safe. All of these are already known entities. I mean, half of these movies are remakes or sequels or soft sequel boots or whatever. I mean, we'll get there. Yeah. But I mean, very few of these, I'm counting 3 original movies.
Yeah.
4 out of the top 20 from the year. Everything else is either a sequel, remake, or reboot.
Well, on that note, talking about topping the box office from an existing property, did you guys hear about Black Panther?
I did. I did hear about
Apparently
Black Panther.
Nobody had before 2018, but let's just say Black Panther kind of ruled the box office this year with 2 different films.
They crushed it. Black Panther, I mean, if you count both that and Infinity War as both Black Panther entities, I mean, it's just incredible. Now, you have some of the numbers, John. I have the domestic gross for the top 20 films.
Right, and we'll get there eventually. But yeah, between $2 to $3 billion if you count, you know, Avengers and Black Panther. So, you know, obviously it's a little strange for us to be discussing this in this very, very pale room, but obviously a lot of people, you know, saw that as like a huge, huge win, you know,
absolutely,
to have a black superhero and to dominate the box office.
It's just all this white Hollywood bullshit that we're always told that, no one's going to see a movie starring a woman, no one's going to see a movie starring a black man. That's such fucking bullshit. You tell a good story and people are going to go see it, and we need more of those stories.
The people who are saying that shit are
white dudes.
Well, yeah, they're white old dudes
who want to cast their white old friends.
Who want to cast their white old friends.
I couldn't agree more. Like, do we really need to see Harrison Ford as like some crusty curmudgeon in another movie ever again? Like, I don't.
Well, he's trying to kill himself off.
He's trying to kill himself off.
Yeah, in the new Indiana Jones, I'm sure he will.
Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of controlled the box. But I mean, that's Marvel for you. I mean, they had 3 movies this year come out, which seems almost kind of calm for them. But, you know, and they all did very well, even including Ant-Man and Wasp, which is kind of their bastard child.
It is, but it's
I love it.
Fun franchise.
It's a fun franchise.
But no, you know, it's kind of probably, I'm sure, the bottom of their totem pole in terms of what.
Yeah, but it still was an earner. I mean, it came in top 7, top 6.
Okay, and I'm gonna butcher this here.
That's okay.
Ava DuVernay.
DuVernay
became the first African American woman to be in charge of a $100 million blockbuster film.
Right, with
Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time, right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, the movie was garbage. But,
yeah, the movie was not that good.
But, you know, it's a big deal, you know, for
Well, too,
to
Black
see
Panther
what-
had a black director as well. I mean, it was a male black director,
Right,
but still,
yeah.
I mean,
But to see that, because there's just when we cross one bridge, there's another bridge, that we
Absolutely.
haven't even come.
Absolutely.
And for her to get that that movie made, and for a studio as infamous as Hollywood is for doing what they do, to kind of back her on that is a big deal. And I'm kind of going from an article here, and this one I just have to bring up because it's very depressing to me. Venom was one of the highest grossing movies of the year.
That
It
is
was.
extremely depressing.
was.
Yeah.
it's top 10, I think, isn't it?
And when we didn't talk about this, is that this year, Sony, because they kind of have lost
Their
technically
soul.
the rights to Spider-Man. Like they still, it's so confusing because it's now a Disney property, but Sony still distributes the movies. So when you saw Spider-Man: Homecoming, it was Disney and Sony present Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
But the deal is that Sony can't use Spider-Man, but they can hold on to all of the other properties.
Which, like, what the fuck would you want with the other properties
Right,
with
without
no
Spider-Man, yeah.
Like, give me a break.
So their ingenious idea is to make movies about secondary heroes and the villains.
Yeah.
And Venom was their launching pole for their Spider-Man-less Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
They didn't even mention Spider-Man at all. They didn't even say.
I don't think
yeah.
they can.
No, Venom might have been the worst movie I saw. Oh no, it wasn't. It's in my top 3 of the worst.
It's pretty bad.
It was really bad.
I watched that, and my 10-year-old stepson loves it. But that's who they were after.
Well, yeah. 10-year-old.
That's who they were after.
Or that one kid in the back of the class that drew Venom on every one of his notebooks.
Yes. It's like, oh, is that the Black Spider-Man? No, fuck you, it's Venom.
Yeah. I'm Todd McFarlane. I created Venom. Get out of my house, Todd McFarlane. We don't care.
It was really a horrible movie. It wasn't the worst movie I saw, but it was.
I mean, I will say it was a step up from the Topher Grace Venom that we got in Spider-Man 3.
I mean,
That's
who
sad
doesn't
to
want to
say.
see Eric Foreman kicking some ass?
But I'm just saying, that bar is already pretty
low.
fucking
It was.
low to begin with.
You're not wrong.
So-
You are not wrong.
Now we're going to get a Carnage movie, and we're going to get a Black Cat
With
movie.
Woody Harrelson as Carnage.
Which, oh my goodness, that was just a mistake. And these movies, they practically cast fetuses so they can make 100 of them.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
did you cast 65-year-old burnout Woody Harrelson?
Because I think Woody Harrelson wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I think that he was just like, Carnage? Yeah, fucking
he
love that.
wants to get his dirty little fingers in every single franchise he can, for real.
So
Seriously.
I was.
Do you guys want to know something really depressing?
Sure. What?
Like Spider-Man, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He was born in '96.
Oh, fuck him.
That makes me want to cry. Like,
Fuck
it's
him.
just upsetting.
So I probably went and saw Mars Attacks before his mother pushed him out. Good to know.
and he's born in June, so it depends on when it came out. And he's British,
Around that
right?
time.
Yeah.
So he's not even American.
No.
But yeah, I was really hoping that movie would be a disaster just to help for Sony to continue their dumpster fire. Maybe actually learn something. But no, now we're going to get Venom 2 and Carnage.
Because it made money.
But here's the thing, man.
which is so gross.
It's no longer a matter of, is it terrible in America? Is it terrible in China? Is it terrible in Japan? Is it terrible in Europe? And it seems to be that as long as it makes money in any of those territories, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Look at the Transformers movies.
Oh yeah,
Transformers
huge in
movies.
China.
Huge in fucking China.
Yeah.
Huge in Japan. Huge in Europe. But in America, they've been downhill for a while. But the point is that as long as they're making money, they don't care what currency it is.
Well, there was that huge uproar. It was either last year, actually not because we're in 2017 or 16, with Matt Damon in that movie, The Great Wall.
Yes.
And people,
Lord.
whitewashing. But the thing is, they put Matt Damon in because they thought the Chinese market would want him in.
It was the same thing
That
with...
blows my mind, guys. I can't speak to that because that just blows my mind.
But it was the exact same thing with... what the hell movie was it?
with Charlize Theron.
No, not
Ghost in the
Charlize.
Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
The people in China and Japan said, no, we like her.
Yeah. We want her in the role.
We
yeah.
want her in the role.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson. I was blanking on her name.
Oh, it was.
yeah, Ghost in the Shell.
they
I even saw that movie too.
I saw
Yeah.
it. It wasn't as bad as people.
I can't remember who the lead actress was in the movie.
But no, the thing is just our taste and our reaction to certain casting choices is different than the people that are ultimately going to be the deciding factor on whether that movie gets a franchise or not.
Man, Ghost in the Shell, talk about a movie that was dead on release. Speaking of dead, let's do people we lost this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that was rough.
Yes, this year was kind of a little all over the board. It wasn't like the past 2 years where you had, and I don't want to diminish anyone's death, but like we didn't have humongous names. But I would.
Well, I mean, a lot of rock
there were
stars
some.
died.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, like Carrie Fisher died 2 years ago. Like that's
But
like a big one.
Should we? I don't know if we should start or end with it, so I'm just going to start with it. Stan Lee.
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt a lot.
We lost the icon. I
hurt a
don't
lot.
really know if he was doing anything in these years other than the cameos in the movies. I think he's pretty much retired and was just famous for being Stan Lee at this point. But
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But he was what, 96?
Yeah.
92, something around there.
Yeah, he was.
I think it was in the early 90s actually.
He was. I want to say like 94 or something like that. He was like. I mean, he was older.
95.
He was still younger than my 100-year-old great aunt. Everyone.
Wow.
Quit bringing that up. You're going to curse it. But
No.
but yeah, that one hurt because I mean, obviously we're all fans of their comic book
Yeah.
movies because we
Well,
talk
there
about
was-
everyone that comes out.
There
but-
was a cameo of him in Venom, wasn't there?
yeah,
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah.
That was the first I had, like, quote unquote, seen him since he
You know,
died.
I'm gonna choose to say that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was his last cameo and not Venom, and I don't.
Oh yeah, Into the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
I think
yeah,
that,
that's
I
fair.
think that was his last one.
Yeah,
It was, but I just didn't. I saw the Venom, cameo. That's all.
but yeah, I mean, we all saw him. The man was in his 90s, and it seemed like he was struggling possibly with dementia, but it still doesn't make it any easier.
No,
when that
it was
happens.
just such a damn shame.
It was very, very upsetting.
Milos Forman died this year, the director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, excuse me, and Amadeus. He didn't make many films, but when he did, they were just solid gold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, he was 86 years old. So and they said it was a short illness. So I don't know if that means it was cancer, and they just want to
Could be
be
cancer.
quiet about it, or exactly what that means. Lane, you had mentioned that Anthony Bourdain took his life this past year.
Yep.
And we did talk about that a little bit, in the archives of the show here. You never know how depression is going to affect people.
Nope.
And they don't outwardly show it. So don't be afraid to talk to people if you have some issues.
Yep.
going
DM me on Twitter at Ellie_Croft.
The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
That was a big one. That was
yes.
a really big one last year. She'd also been quite ill. Was it pancreatic cancer, John?
Died of. All I have here is died of cancer in my notes. So,
Yeah, I think it was one of the more brutal cancers.
yeah. But Aretha Franklin, I have a colleague named Paula Franklin who, she always joked that Aretha Franklin was her aunt because she would have been the perfect age difference for her to be her aunt. She'd always say like Aunt Aretha. If she ever saw her on like TV and stuff. Like
That's funny.
What does she span? Like 5 generations?
I mean,
Aretha
so
Franklin?
and just like so universal. I mean, definitely like someone who broke boundaries, and I mean, that's a legend. Like she was a legend.
Yeah, because I mean, she came up in a time when it was a wee bit difficult.
Yeah, and she still is a legend, but like she was a living legend, and now she's just a legend.
And I don't mean to sound like pompous here, but we wouldn't have Beyonce today without Aretha.
No.
I feel like
I don't think we would.
That's fair.
I don't mean this in a glib way, just because it seems like it's been a long time coming. But Burt Reynolds finally died.
Oh, finally.
Well, I mean,
There
in
were
the sense
so
that
many tabloids that said he was dead for so long.
like the last 8 years. Yeah,
He's looking up at you, John, and said, "Fuck you."
looking up.
Got that, huh?
Yeah, I remember at Steel City Con, he was there like a year ago or so, and they kept saying, "Make sure you take advantage of this probably last opportunity."
They were so
to meet
delicate
Burt.
about it, but you know what they meant.
It's
They
like,
meant
he gonna die.
dude's gonna die. Well, I mean, that was one of the things that they had said when Martin Landau was still doing conventions, and when John and I met him, that was his last Steel City Con. He died very shortly after that.
Oh yeah, and it was so weird because you mistakenly think you're going to see the guy from Ed Wood, right?
Oh yeah,
but that movie was 20 odd years ago, and he come up and it's just this feeble old
Frail.
man. And
He
you're
was
like,
so
oh
frail.
God, and you shake his hand and it's pony and it's
yeah. He was so sweet though. God, he was so sweet.
Yeah, but Burt was an icon of an era, like 70s and 80s, like that was the
hair.
Burt Reynolds era. Yeah, the mustache, the hair. Him naked on that bearskin rug. That's still the background of my mom's computer because she doesn't know how to change it.
And that was the upgrade because John originally changed it from that scene in Dumb and Dumber when he's shitting himself, like shitting the toilet. And his mom raised such a fuss. He was like, fine, I'll find something that you'd like. And he changed it to Bert. And she still was super pissed. It was awesome.
Oh, she said she was super pissed. She wasn't super pissed.
Right. She like needs
She
alone
grew up in
time
the
with
70s.
it now.
She liked
That's what I'm
Bert.
saying. She was probably like,
She
oh,
needs
hair.
alone time now.
Lane's best friend, Bernardo Bertolucci,
the
director
fuck?
of Last Tango in Paris.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And Oscar winner, director of The Last Emperor, died.
My best friend? What?
Well, I just thought you would get all worked up because of Last Tango in Paris.
Oh, yeah. No, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
God damn it. Why do you have to make me upset?
I'm sorry. Penny Marshall.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
tough.
that was tough.
It's tough to lose a female director for me just because there aren't too many of us.
No.
Well, she was comedian, actress, director. You know, it was I remember seeing a lot in the whole Facebook feed of a lot of women my age talking about how League of Their Own was like just a game changer for them because
Yeah,
it was a
of
movie
course.
about women directed by a woman.
Yeah.
And that's very true. That's very fair.
And you see, as we mentioned a minute ago about the director of Wrinkle in Time, like you're seeing more and more female directors. Patty Jenkins. The Wonder Woman's being directed by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Penny Marshall. That was a odd thing for a woman director. What?
Oh, yeah. Well, especially, too, with the
Back
different
then, yeah.
facets of entertainment.
Back then, yeah.
You
She
can't direct in
helped
a skirt. How are the men going to concentrate on the film?
We did mention this is going to be like a 2-episode drop, right, guys? I
We didn't, but I guess now it is.
feel like we need to.
William Goldman, who is a screenwriter for All the President's Men and The Princess Bride, died this year at 87. So I just wanted to mention him here real quick. Scott Wilson, who was famous for being in Cold Blood and then on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it was
He
sad.
played Herschel
on The Walking Dead.
on that. Yeah, he passed away, and it was strange because the hopefully if you're not caught up on Walking Dead,
no,
okay,
I wouldn't.
well, he's in some of the episodes, but that's been announced by AMC. I'll just leave it at that, and it was
Yeah,
one of
there
the
you
last
go.
things he shot before he died, and it kind of came on suddenly. He was also at Steel City Con. I almost regret not meeting him, but he was like $100 an autograph.
It was so much to just
Yeah.
and to like it's tough because you don't want to just like go up and say hi because they hate you because you're not paying any money.
They do.
we lost Gary Kurtz this year, who is very prolific in the creation of Star Wars.
Yep.
And The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, he made Empire take shape. Really, I
Yes,
mean,
he did.
He was involved with Dark Crystal, so a very prolific producer and one of the first people to really wheel in George Lucas's crazy.
they're doing a Dark Crystal prequel. Mark Hamill signed on to it. I saw that this week.
Somebody who I thought was already dead but died this year was Neil Simon,
Oh wow, really?
creator of
Really?
like the Odd
I
Couple.
really
and,
thought
yeah.
he was. Yeah, I thought he was dead too. Wow. That's got to be the worst when you die and people think you're already dead. That's really upsetting.
Yeah, he's
Sorry,
a
buddy.
prolific playwright involved, for Barefoot in the Park, The Odd Couple. So a huge legend there died. Human piece of garbage. Joe Jackson finally did us all a favor and
Human
died.
piece of garbage. God, I'm madly in love
You a
with
piece
you.
of garbage. Joe Jackson went ahead and joined Satan.
Yeah. Well,
He's definitely looking up.
if anybody's like, "Oh, John, why did you say that?" At his son Michael's funeral, he was hawking T-shirts that he made. He was selling T-shirts at his son's funeral.
Yep.
Be-
Yeah, well, Joe Jackson, I mean, like, Michael Jackson's father.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to say that.
Yeah,
for
Joe
some people,
Jackson.
maybe.
Yeah,
If people don't
he's
know
trying
that,
to
that's
sell like
understandable.
"Remember Michael" T-shirts at his son's funeral in the parking lot.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Human piece of refuse. Joe Jackson.
Burn in hell, you fucker.
Yeah. We lost Margot Kidder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a
yeah.
lot of movies with her in them, guys.
Talk about a lot of issues with I don't even know the proper term.
Mental
but
health.
Mental health. Let's just say
Mental
that.
health.
Yeah.
She was 69 years old, so a little young for her to be leaving us. But speaking of a little too young to go, Vern Troyer, who was Mini-Me.
Yeah, that's
yeah, but
so
he
sad.
had a lot of shit.
Right there, it was bound.
I
to
Was it
happen.
remember
substance
watching-
issues?
Yeah.
You probably. I mean, I remember.
But also with his health, like being that little.
I remember watching him in Surreal Life, and I've mentioned this before about my hatred for reality TV, and
We all
they
fall
took it,
subject
but they
sometimes.
took advantage of his declining
Wellness.
wellness when it came to drugs and alcohol and things like that. And just like I remember one scene where he was naked in his wheelchair because he had like an electronic wheelchair, and he was just driving around running into things, and they're filming all this shit.
And didn't he like pee in the corner like a cat with
He
a UTI? Like had that
He
look
did.
on his face because
Yeah.
he was hammered. Like yeah.
Yeah, he'd had some problems. I think he had started to kind of clean up too, which is even more sad. Like he had started to kind of turn things around,
Right.
but it was just like kind of too late.
Wonder if he's like the opposite of Andre the Giant, though. I wonder if his like being that small was creating a lot of health issues for him.
Well,
you know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Harry Anderson, famous for Night Court and his many visits on Cheers, passed away. He was only 64 years old.
Wow.
R. Lee Emery, who's probably most known for Full Metal Jacket,
Yep.
passed away this year.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Lane's going to sneeze for a little bit here for us.
Come on, you're not going to edit that out.
No, I'm
damn
going to
it.
keep that sucker
We're
in.
keeping that in. John Mahoney, speaking of Cheers, was probably best known for Frasier.
Mr. Crane.
As the father, yeah. I remember he was great in Primal Fear. That blew my mind because he was such a scumbag in that movie. And I knew him as, like,
It's tough.
Frasier's dad, you know?
It's tough when these like
He also
bad...
was in striking distance.
Oh yeah. When these like badasses go on to be like the dad, it's like I'm confused now.
And don't you know who my brother is? Jerry Van Dyke passed away.
Yeah.
Don't you know who my
That
brother
was rough,
is?
John. I love you, but that was rough.
So, yeah, those were the people we lost this year. And like I said, I'm not there to diminish anyone's death, but it seems like this was a little tamer.
Well, we lost one icon, out of all of them. Like Aretha Franklin, I think is the biggest icon of
Stan
everybody,
Lee,
and
Burt
Stan
Reynolds,
Lee.
I guess, yeah.
True, but I mean, like we lost like 17 rock stars and like Carrie Fisher and like all these other people in the same year. I mean, like you said, it's a different feel, So.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is sad that we lost people, and too, I mean, the couple, the deaths that I had mentioned, Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain and Mac Miller, just when death is not due to illness and there can be options other than death, definitely try to take those steps to reach out, guys.
All right. Now we're going to go to the quickest segment of our episode, what I like to call my recurring thing: sequels, reboots, and remakes.
Oh, shit. Saddle up, folks.
A Star is Born, Bumblebee, Avengers Infinity War, Christopher Robin, Creed 2, Deadpool 2, Death Wish, Equalizer 2, Fantastic Beasts 2, The Girl in the Spiderweb, 50 Shades Freed, The Grinch, Cloverfield Paradox, God's Not Dead, A Light in the Darkness, Hotel Transylvania 3, Incredibles 2, Halloween, Johnny English Strikes Again, Mamma Mia 2, Maze Runner, The Deck Cure, Insidious, Jurassic World 2, One Big Pile of Shit, Mission Impossible Fallout, Mogwai, Legend of the Jungle, Mary Poppins Returns, The Hustle, The Nun, Ocean's 8, The Nutcracker, and the 4 whatever the fucks, Pacific Rim Uprising, Overboard, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Sekiro 2, The Predator, Solo, The First Purge, Robin Hood, Ant-Man and Wasp, Tomb Raider, Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, and Super Troopers 2.
One big pile of shit.
That hurts me.
I don't even think I got all of them.
Which one was one big pile of shit?
Jurassic World 2.
That hurts me greatly.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Fallen Kingdom. I'm sorry, I read that wrong.
There's no end.
Fallen turd.
There is no end to how much John hates that movie.
It's bad, too.
Real bad.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were,
man.
in terms of remake sequels and things based off other things, there were 18 in the summer alone.
I said Hollywood played it safe.
18.
And you wonder why people are flocking to Netflix,
Oh, I don't fucking
Amazon
wonder.
Prime
Yeah.
for content. You wonder why people are binging shows like Handmaid's Tale, why they're binging shows like I binged Titans. Okay, the adult version of Teen Titans.
Oh,
I
right.
binged that. That was a great series. But you wonder why they're flocking to those shows, and it is because Hollywood lost its balls.
Yeah.
Well, they're
It has
playing
no
it so
balls.
safe. They're trying to play it by all the same rules that they've always done. I mean, it's really tough,
Yeah. I will say there are movies that I'm shocked about, that, oh, this didn't do well or that did well. Like, when you see a trailer for Robin Hood, you're like, oh, that's not going to work.
Oh, it looks so fucking bad.
And it didn't.
It looks so bad.
Oh my god! I saw that trailer for Robin Hood, and I just bust out laughing.
Oh, I know.
I just was like, let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. You're going to take basically the plot of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, okay?
Yep.
And instead of Morgan Freeman, you're going to get Jamie Foxx.
Yep.
Instead of Kevin Costner, you're going to get Joel Edgerton.
I didn't even know who that guy was.
I mean, I knew him from, what the hell? The spy movie that he's in.
Dead air, folks.
Kingsman.
Kingsman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but I watched it and I'm just like, So is this supposed to be like placed in modern time, or is this medieval time? Because they're wearing clothes that are pretty modern looking.
Yeah. Take the Costner one, get a splash of Hot Topic in there.
And I even think like what's his face? The villain from Ready Player One, Sorrento Cheese.
Oh yeah,
Sorrento Cheese. I fucking forgot
Ben
about
Mendelsohn.
that. We're such
Ben Mendelsohn.
assholes.
But he was the villain in this too. He's like the sheriff of Nottingham.
he looks like a dick.
Yeah, well, he's Admiral Shitface in what, Rogue One?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorrento Cheese. I still call him Sorrento Cheese.
I like it.
But the point is, it's like I watched that and I'm just like, this is the dumbest fucking Robin Hood movie I've ever seen. And it's not like there's that long of a time between the last Robin Hood movie. Remember the
Russell Crowe one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
That was what? Maybe 5 years?
It's like when I saw his trailer for Ben-Hur, and I'm like, oh no.
Wasn't there one with Keira Knightley too? Was that Robin Hood? Because she was Guinevere, right?
No, that's King Arthur.
Or
You're
King
thinking of
Arthur.
Yeah,
I'm getting my myths mixed up because there's been so many bad movies about both.
There is a movie about Robin Hood and King Arthur, I think, that was made in the 80s.
Oh,
So,
maybe.
yeah.
Maybe that's what I don't know. I'd love to give myself credit and be like, yes, John, that's what I was thinking about. But no, I literally got them confused because all the movies about them are so terrible.
Stylized garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the tax write-off for the year. You know, there's always that saying that like every theater has like one movie a year they have to make.
But it's always
bomb
Kevin
for
James.
tax purposes.
I don't think
So it's Kevin James.
you know,
Suck it, Kevin James.
It's
enemy of the show.
it's Paul Cott Blomart, you know.
God damn it, John, you're so funny. It hurts me. You're funny.
Yeah, I think they thought it would at least make like a couple million profit, and it just
tanked.
and-
It's like, well, grandmas will take their kids to see it because they'll be like, oh, look, it's fun.
Listen, it looked like hot Muppet trash. It's fine.
But to kind of wrap up this end of the 2008 episode, and we'll come back next week with a top 10 best, top 10 worst. Is let's not talk about the bad. Let's talk about not exactly the good, but the profitable.
Yeah, money.
Yeah. And this is always just fascinating. I like to know where the money's going, like where we're buying our tickets for with movies.
Yeah.
And so first I'm going to give the top 10 domestic gross and then the worldwide gross, because there is actually some discrepancies there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So
Please enlighten us.
coming in at number 10, because fuck us, Solo. Done domestic.
I don't fucking understand. That movie was so horrible. It made me want to rescind my card carrying member of being a Star Wars fan. I literally just wanted. I'm sorry. I'm
Lane,
upset.
the
I'm upset.
reason why it did okay
Yeah.
is because of us.
Well, I should have just gone
Yeah.
to fucking.
But I'm just saying that's the reason
I
why.
should have gone fucking door to door and been like, "Don't do it, don't do it,
That's
don't
just,
do it."
but that's the reason why.
ridiculous.
Because as Star Wars fans, we're like lemmings.
I
We
know.
flock
I
to
know.
whatever shit they
Oh, I
put
thought
out.
you meant because we had a podcast and we felt I should have bought a ticket to Incredibles 2 and just snuck into Solo. I didn't
Oh
get
no,
my
dude!
money.
Brian meant like him and I specifically
Yeah.
because you are not as slavish.
You are not a slave to the wars.
You are
okay?
you are not Lucas's bitch like me and Brian are. We will bend over for whatever garbage that fucking
can't
movie
help it.
house has. We'll fill every orifice with it.
Double-bladed
You're actually-
lightsaber. Let's go. Okay.
You have more.
No, you're
integrity.
Disney's bitch. Look,
Disney's
Lucas is
bitch.
swimming in his
Lucas
coin
is-
bath.
Lucas
That's
is-
true.
yeah.
I think he really does swim in coins like Scrooge McDuck. I feel like George Lucas might be Scrooge McDuck. He seems so hateful and joyless, and actually just has so much money he could swim in it. I think that's the thing.
think his neck waddle.
He swims in Bitcoin.
I think his neck waddle is some sort of
Oh.
plumage.
That's why he has that beard to cover up. Yeah,
I think it just like it breathes.
Lads, that was unkind.
Well, he's part toad.
His part toe.
Number 9, and I thought this would have done better just because Marvel. Ant-Man and Wasp, 216 million.
You know, but it's actually good. So
It was-
I don't know.
it
The
was
good
good.
ones don't
It
make
was a
as much
good one.
money, I guess.
And that actually will not even appear in the worldwide box office. Actually, the new
Yeah.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yes, that's.
Yeah.
That's
I heard it was good, and then I heard it was bad. I'm so confused.
220 million coming in at
Okay.
number 8. Somehow already, Aquaman has made $222 million.
Here's the thing. I have heard from a lot of people that Aquaman is good.
I heard. What'd you say, John? That it's either.
it's either the best worst movie of the year or the worst good movie of the year.
This is the kind of pillow talk we have. Like, this is one of the last things John said to me last night before I fell asleep, and I was like 2 in the morning. He's like, "Yeah,
my
I
only
heard this."
problem with Aquaman is he's the worst superhero of all time.
Yeah.
Listen, we have to have a little chat about how weird Jason Momoa is. Like in his interviews, and like he's been doing the night talk show circuit. I mean, I did not need to see him like wrestle Jimmy Fallon for no reason. They did like a trident throwing contest.
Oh, I need to
and
see
of
that.
course, when Jason Momoa won, he tossed Jimmy around like a tiny rag doll. Like Jimmy looks like a toy next to this like massive mammoth man.
And that's not very nice because Jimmy's drunk.
Are we just gonna come after Jimmy again? These allegations of him like maybe having a problem.
I need some gin and tonic.
When did he almost tear his finger off? That was like 2 years ago.
And he got a
3 years
black
ago.
eye and a broken nose.
Yeah, and I think he's fine now, John. Let's show a little humanity. But seriously, like,
well, I will when he stops laughing at all of his own jokes.
check out the trident throwing though; it's ridiculous.
But yeah, I heard it was kind of a jumbled mess. Aquaman.
I always thought I was going to call him Seaman.
I have to
Hey,
keep
Seaman.
myself in check and like not see every piece of garbage that comes out because we saw some really bad movies.
Because there is no God, Dr. Seuss and the Grinch made $267 million.
Can we talk about how angry this movie made John?
God.
This movie made John so angry because they started coming out in like
my kids
fucking
loved
summer.
it.
I'm
My
sure they
kids
did.
loved it.
I'm sure they did.
You know, and like even things I love, like Star Wars, you want to throw that on a conveyor belt, it's gonna happen. You want to remake Batman 10 million times, gonna happen. You know, Back to the Future, you want to remake that, gonna happen eventually. But when you don't fuck with Dr. Seuss. You know,
See
we
how angry he
got
is?
the perfect one in the 60s. Like, just don't fuck with
John was so angry.
I don't know.
John
You didn't like
John,
that Jim Carrey one?
Oh, that fucking one too. Yeah.
No, though it's actually not a bad take, I guess, on the myth. It's like pretty close.
Well,
to,
it's not
When you
nearly
need a
as
nice
bad.
like parable about like being selfless and knowing
Yeah,
like the
that's
true
true.
meaning of Christmas, like we need that to be 2 hours with Jim Carrey talking out his butt.
yeah.
Anyways, Deadpool 2 comes in at number 5 at $324 million.
That wasn't that bad.
So we're getting
pretty
Deadpool
good.
3, I guess.
Yeah.
Recycle all the same
So,
jokes
John,
one
how
more
do
You
you
time.
know,
know
but
Jurassic
like,
World
they do
Fallen
it so
Kingdom.
self-awaredly. It seems fresh and new. Oh no!
Jurassic World, $416 million. At the
Wait a minute, is that all you're going to
box office.
say?
All right, we need to give John a minute here because I have heard all fucking year about how terrible Jurassic World was. I told him I
Okay.
don't want to see it.
All right. It's true, you did do a sideways video.
Incredibles 2 comes in at number 3 at $608 million.
Seriously, I'm very upset. Like you bitched about that movie so hard.
Oh,
is it going to be later? Are you going to tell us later?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I already did a sideways video about it.
That's true.
I learned a very valuable lesson that you can't put your phone the way that a camera lens is when you do Facebook Live.
No, you have to have it upright this way
Yeah.
so it looks right. You can't do it this way like an actual.
Yeah, after a 25-minute rant on Jurassic World, I learned that the hard way.
You know,
But-
why the fuck do we even go to film school when it's just all like Facebook videos?
Yeah, now it's all just on your
Wish
phone.
I
Yeah.
could cry.
Avengers Infinity War made $678 million domestically. No surprise there. And domestically, Black Panther topped everybody with $700 million.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
was domestic gross. Yeah.
And so moving on to worldwide here, say goodbye to Solo, say goodbye to Ant-Man. And some surprises in here. Fantastic Beasts 2,
I heard that wasn't that great of a
$628
movie.
million at the worldwide
I heard it
box
was- it
office.
was
That was
Very,
quick too. That came out in November.
Yeah.
That didn't have long to make that much money. My
Oh,
goodness.
really? They made up a lot of
Surprisingly, here on a worldwide basis, I didn't know they had this staying power overseas, even though they're English. Bohemian Rhapsody, $704 million at the worldwide box office. No,
Yeah.
it was very average, and they made up most of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, most. That was really that. I
That's
gave
what
it.
you didn't like about it, right?
Oh, I gave it a 5.5
People love
out of 10,
Seaman,
actually. I would have
apparently.
given it maybe a 7 if they hadn't made up most of the stuff. I took that very
It
personally.
was supposed to be great, you know.
Deadpool was number 8 at $738 million worldwide. Aquaman is at $785 million worldwide, folks. That didn't take long. Seaman, yeah. They love superhero movies. When is that superhero fatigue going to come in? I don't know. I mean, I hope. I like going to them. I don't want it
Oh,
to come,
fuck
but it just
you.
seems like eventually it's going to
Fucking
happen.
I'm
Venom.
tired of them.
Number 6, Mission Impossible Fallout is at $787 million worldwide. You guys ready for this one? Venom, $853 million at a worldwide box office.
Why? No.
Yeah.
No.
It made nearly $1 billion.
And is that just overseas? Or is that counting the domestic? It's worldwide.
Yeah, it's worldwide.
Oh my God, that movie was so bad.
That's China, Japan, Italy, Germany, everywhere.
That movie was hideous, guys. It was so fucking terrible.
Now we get into the big players, Bucks here.
Oh boy.
Number 4, Incredibles 2, which is a woefully average movie.
No, John didn't really like it. It's ridiculous.
1.24 billion.
All right.
So,
Oh God.
Yep. Kids make money. Oh, this hurts you. It's
No.
Jurassic Park, isn't it?
Jurassic World.
Or World, excuse me.
Fallen shit.
Fallen turds.
$1.3 billion.
You know they're going to make more.
So say hello to Jurassic World.
Dun,
3,
dun,
4,
dun.
5. Yeah.
Hurts.
Old Chris Pratt's not going to be hurting for work. And then we have a flip-flop here on the worldwide box office. Black Panther, $1.34 billion.
Okay.
Avengers, $2 billion. Do-do-do.
Money.
We're so old.
Yeah.
So yeah, Avengers tops it on the worldwide box office. And it's weird to think they probably spent $350
There's no
million
fatigue
to
there.
make that movie, and
Ever.
then it made 650. Or no, 1 point.
That's part
Yeah,
one.
whatever.
Math
Yeah, money.
is
Yeah,
stupid.
1.65 billion profit. Good lord, those Marvel movies make a shit ton of money.
Crazy.
Yeah. But so
I'm kind of fatigued.
Yeah. So that was the year that was, and part 1. We're gonna come back here next week with the top 10s, and we'll see if you guys
break it down
agree.
on why things were
If not,
terrible.
yeah, the best of and the worst of.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think of 2018?
I don't know. Like
in
I
terms
said,
of entertainment.
Well, I think it's interesting that we're seeing different
Oh,
trends on the fact that the theater was in the upswing.
Yes, it
We
did.
didn't mention this, but the article that
Yes.
I read on Vox said that Movie
Boogers.
Pass could have been
Blood
the reason
boogers.
that movies were on the uprise now. Movie Pass had a fit of both diarrhea and vomit at the same time and crumpled on itself in a fiery
got
burst
Movie
of
Pass the
flames.
weekend.
Don't forget
they
their
wake
noses
kids
running
up.
too, and they had a bloody
Boogers.
head. Yeah.
Boogers.
Literally.
And earwax. But I mean, they just they had a hard time, and it was crazy because it was awesome. Like I was seeing movies a lot.
I
in the early
heard
part of
that
the year, but then they just
AMC's,
started limiting, and like their service just kept getting.
No,
weirder,
I've heard
and there
that
was a lot of
AMC's
weird
club
rules.
thing is actually pretty good too.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's
but, I
right.
mean, it's
yeah,
just
because
supposed
John
to
and I
work
had it
similar to
already,
how
so we were
Movie Pass-
I
grandfathered
canceled
in.
mine in
20
December
bucks.
here.
Yeah,
Get
well,
three
and now
movies
you're gonna
and
try Cinemia,
rack
right,
up points.
John?
Yeah.
This year, that's like your new one.
I like how you just said that. That is not a paid sponsor.
Oh no, Triscuits is.
Yeah.
You have to go to AMC though. Yeah.
It's a little more now. Cinemia is still
Smell-o-vision.
it's
Jerk,
like
jerk
10
you off
still,
vision.
right? 10 a month.
Yeah, well, they
$8.99.
have what they're doing, which is smart. Is they have
That's the future.
Right, you can get
And you,
different
it's like
programs.
$30 a month if you want to see anything,
Like,
any day.
unlimited.
Yeah, including like the 4D cinemas or whatever the fuck.
Smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that's my, here's
Pokey in
my
the butt.
question to you guys.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
like- ooh,
maybe
jerk you
if
off
you
vision.
need to have
That's the future of
services
cinema.
like Movie Pass,
But yeah, but anyway, but
AMC
movie
stubs,
theaters
pay this
did like a
thing.
lot better this
Maybe.
year than they had
Problem.
because, like I
Maybe
mentioned
so I
before,
could go see
2017 marked a
Theaters.
3-year low,
Fuck
even though
costs.
ticket prices, increase every year. So
It's easy for me if I go by myself and deal with it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
that's weird.
That's not weird. People think that's weird. People think it's weird. Yeah. Yeah. People think it's fucking weird.
You have 3 kids that are movie age.
Yes.
Well, of course, but I mean,
Brian, you
there's-
have kids. Like it's easy for me if I go by myself and deal with it. I go to movies alone sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And then they want
I don't
popcorn
think that's
and all
weird.
sorts
Do
of
people
shit
think
to go
that's
with
weird?
it.
I don't think that's weird. Really? You can't talk
Oh, yeah.
in the movie
That's,
anyways.
and that,
Who
honestly,
cares?
that's why we,
You have
we
you have
generally
3
don't
kids
go
that are
out to
movie age.
movies a whole
And
lot.
let's just for argument's sake,
my
Coraline's
wife
now movie
took
age too. She's got
the
4
kids
kids
to
and a
go
wife.
see the
You're
Grinch
looking at
movie that you hate
well
so
over
much,
$100 in movie tickets by the
you
time.
know,
Yeah.
offended
Yeah.
by
And
it. And
Yeah, and what if the
they
movie
saw
sucks
the
and you're like,
new
oh,
Mary
shit.
Poppins movie,
You know.
which actually, from what I heard, was really good.
I heard it's possibly going to get nominated.
I
Yeah.
imagine not.
Yeah, but the point is that what I'm seeing is if you need to have
Offended by.
a discount card to go see a movie because the cost of a ticket to a movie
I heard it was cute, too.
I heard it's possibly
exorbitant.
going to get nominated for Best Picture, which
Maybe
I'm gonna
the
have to go see.
solution, I'm talking to you, Hollywood, is lower the cost of tickets.
It's when the movie theater just $5 night, you're like, wait a minute, you can charge
Yeah.
$5 for tickets and make a profit. Why is that not every night?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that tells you something.
Or here's another solution
Yeah.
too, and this is going directly to our friends at Row House. Okay, so our friends at Row House, they'll charge $8.
Well,
to
it's
go
when the movie
watch a
theater does
movie there.
$5 night. You're like,
What
wait
are
a
you
minute,
getting
you
with
can
that?
charge $5 for
Getting
tickets and make a
experience.
profit. Why is that not every
Need
night?
more to it.
Yeah, I mean that
You know?
tells
So
you something, doesn't it?
If you're going to charge X amount of dollars for a movie, maybe you do more than just play the movie.
And $8 isn't that bad for a ticket. I mean, that's one of the less expensive tickets.
That is a little less expensive, but I mean, you look at the 3D tickets are generally like $15 in some places. So what I'm trying to get at, guys, is just that if you need
And
to have a movie
$8
pass,
isn't that
if you
bad
need
for
to
a ticket.
have,
I mean, that's one of the less expensive
Cinemio
tickets, especially
or
for a
AMC
weekend.
Stubs, maybe the problem isn't necessarily people not wanting to go see movies in the theater. That it's more or less people don't want to spend $100 at a time to go see a movie in a theater.
Well, I think that's why streaming services are so appealing.
Exactly.
Flat rate for a certain amount
Exactly.
of entertainment, because Netflix is just as tiered as anything else.
And I mean, I don't know the solution of how you make it cheaper. I don't. But that's the reason why people aren't seeing them. It's not piracy.
Well, I think that's
It's
why streaming
not
services are
fucking
so
piracy.
appealing.
I
It's
hate
a
to hear
flat
that.
rate
Oh, well, people
for
pirate
a
movies.
certain amount of
Bullshit.
entertainment, because
Bullshit.
Netflix is just as tiered as anything else,
I don't know the most popular movie. It still made $2 billion.
Yes, it's not hurting.
It really isn't. The studio heads take more. Yeah, but I think it's interesting that the trends have kind of changed a little bit as far as the movies go. I think that there was It's really
You
not
think
that
they would have
common to
pirated
pirate.
Avengers Infinity War, right? The most popular movie. It still made $2 billion.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's starting to hurt.
It really
Well,
isn't. So, yeah,
I
but-
think it's starting to hurt them.
But yeah, but I think it's
eventually it's
interesting
gonna
that the
start to
trends have kind of changed a little bit as far as the movies go. I think that there were some entertainment
But they seem to get
triumphs,
pissed off when the
a lot of them
awards don't
in the
go their way
streaming
then.
realm. Like
So
I said, I think
we'll
Hollywood
see
played
what
it really
happens
safe.
there.
And I think
But
it's
yeah,
kind of
join
a
us
shame.
next week.
It paid
with
off.
Part 2
So
of our retrospective on 2018.
I think eventually, but man,
Helene,
they
where
made
can
so
they
much
find it
dirty money,
on
Brian.
the
I don't know.
Tutar
It seems like an
machine?
okay formula for now.
John?
That's
You can find me at Brian Connington, also on the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus at Psycho Show.
Buddy.
You can also find us on
Number
the
2.
Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com.
Psycho's Endgame.
If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, you can contact us at
You can find me at
cinemapsychoshow.com. Make sure to
LA_craft.
subscribe to us on
Unreal
podcast
Jails.
and iTunes and get your new episode available every Sunday.
Epicast.
Oh, hey guys, this just in: Jurassic World 3. Chris Pratt takes a shit. Just made $1.3 billion.